Welcome to the War Eagle Radio Network for Talons Out Live with head coach Adam Dolan. Talons Out Live takes you in-depth and behind the scenes of the West Carroll War Eagles with stats, comments, and a breakdown of the previous game, plus a look ahead in the schedule. We'll sit down weekly with special guests, players, administration, and the coaches for a look into the locker room. This is Talons Out Live. Welcome, one and all, to week number 2 of Talons Out Live with Coach Adam Dolan. I'm Jonathan Gowan alongside Adam Welch, and Coach Dolan will be joining us here in just a minute. He had a little situation at the end of practice, getting everything squared away, so he is on his way home. But I've got old Adam Welch right here with me, live from the Welch Hacienda. How are you, brother? Let me get you unmuted. I guess I should do that, right? Try again. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
So, yeah, Coach Dolan, he's got held up just a little bit at the end of the practice, so we're going to carry on for the moment without him and stuff. But man, an absolute awesome game on Friday night, Adam. Absolutely awesome. 38-14 victory over Gibson County. And, you know, we talked about this on the broadcast the other night. It was like there was some naysayers here and there, and there was some issues that, you know, people thought that we might not overcome and might not be able to, you know, come away with a win or have a good season, or, you know, a number of things was kind of said across the community and things like that. So I think Coach Dolan and I think the West Carroll War Eagles kind of addressed that on Friday night.
I think so too, Jonathan. West Carroll really found their identity, I think, Friday night. You look at the game and the way the game started with it didn't start out the most promising as you would want a fumble to start out early with West Carroll tried to run it. I believe it was left side option pitch to Jaden. You had a fumble there. So that's not really how you want to start. But what impressed me the most, Jonathan, was the adversity that the team showed through all of that. It didn't seem to, the kids didn't seem to get down. Everybody seemed to respond well. And I think there was a lot of questions coming into this game as far as how the defense would play. And you look at the game defensively, West Carroll was very stellar as far as what they did on the defensive side of the football, kind of setting the tone early, letting Gibson County know that you're coming into West Carroll's territory and you're going to make a statement on defense. And that showed in the game with Jace Hammett's interception return for a touchdown. You had so many guys step up on the defensive side of the football. You had Zach Fowler's big-time catch there, 50-yard diving catch, Pruitt to Fowler. Jade Milton with the record-setting night. It was just what the doctor ordered, I guess if the saying goes, Jonathan, for West Carroll as far as starting the year on a great note, really.
And I mean the difference that you could see from, you know, the jamboree. Of course, I mean I know that's kind of only 2 quarters and kind of a practice session, I guess you would say. But I feel like the difference in the jamboree and what we saw on Friday night was a vast improvement on everything, defense and offense across the board.
Well, Jonathan, when you're playing at your home field, it makes a difference in any sports. Confidence, confidence is as big as, you know, the next play. And I feel like that once West Carroll got off to a good start on that second drive, scoring the touchdown, it just seemed like they carried the momentum forward. In sports, you know, we've talked about this before with Coach Morris last year and now Coach Dolan this year. You know, sports is a game of momentum. It's, you know, we have looked at this and seen this before in football. We've looked at it in basketball as far as that goes. We've, baseball is a little bit slower pace of a game, but, you know, obviously when you get to your bigger sets of games and, in the AA, AAA, Major League level, you can see the momentum change. But This was a game that was intriguing because you had two new head coaches, Coach Pack at Gibson County, Coach Dolan at West Carroll. Even though Coach Dolan is not um, totally new, he was an assistant last year, defensive coordinator, but he is new for West Carroll as far as being a head coach goes. First year head coach taking over Coach Moore. So I think the game was all about identity and which team was going to show its identity early. And it seemed like West Carroll proved a lot of people wrong, I think, in this game, Jonathan. I think a lot of people, when they looked at this game, they thought this was going to be a toss up game. They really did. And I think
Right.
West Carroll went into this proving a lot of people wrong. And that's what you want first game of the year. And now you get ready for uh, Harding Academy next week. They're always a challenge. Hopefully, we won't have a forfeit this year. Uh,
Right.
like we did
Well,
last
and
year.
you was talking about the two new coaches, and I guess it's one of the things that we've always talked about on Talons Out Live, and always talked about on the broadcast. You know, are the players and are the kids buying into what the coaches are asking for? And do you feel like that on Friday night? Let's start with Gibson County. Do you
Sure.
feel like that? Maybe those players maybe didn't buy into their coach as much as what West Carroll did, or do you feel like it was kind of um, a neutral setting, neutral battle? But as far as that aspect goes,
Well, I thought they did. I thought Gibson County bought in good. I thought that was pretty neutral. I just think West Carroll's overall execution was just better, Jonathan. They executed the little things. One of the things that I noticed early in the game was how West Carroll was able to. Um, Coach Dolan talked about keeping Gibson County in the perimeter, and that's something that West Carroll did early in the game was keep Overstreet. They kept him on the inside, him and Rice. Cash at fullback for Gibson County. They kept him in the middle and held him to a couple yards every time he touched it. He didn't get no more than he averaged 2.5 yards a carry. Overstreet averaged 3.9. So West Carroll was able to hold off on allowing the big play. They was patient. The defense was bend, not break. West Carroll had some slip ups, and I'm sure Coach Dolan will talk about that. They had some bend but not break moments where penalties were, um, they were aggressive penalties, and that's penalties you're going to see, Jonathan, early in the year. Both teams had penalties, and it's how you respond from them that makes you better. But I thought West Carroll showed a lot of character in the game, showed through a lot of adversity. It just seemed like maybe the fourth quarter, and then that's something that I'm one of my questions I've got for Coach Dolan. It does seem like the fourth quarter, West Carroll lost just a little bit of pizzazz, I guess, and I don't know if that's. I'm sure that's part of what Gibson County did. Got to give them credit, and also it could be a fatigue factor as well. So.
yeah, and I agree with that as well. We talked about it on the hometown hangout post game show, but who is some of the players that kind of stood out to you? Kind of above the rest, and maybe even some of them that you uh, were didn't have on your radar, I guess I should say, for West Carroll that come in there and really kind of impressed uh, you in that first game.
Well, I look at that offhand. Zach Haynes was a big contributor, even though he only had 8 yards rushing. He was a key factor on both sides of the football. Mason Taylor is another player that made some good impacts blocking on the outside. That's something that stats doesn't always show great blocks on the outside. It doesn't show all the little things that set up for it. It's a shame we don't have more stats that can go along with maybe the multi the multifacets of this game, Jonathan, because it's the football's a lot more to it than running and throwing the ball. It's so many, as Coach Dolan says, schematics. It's a lot of X's, it's a lot of O's, and people don't realize what all goes behind it. But as far as that, I think Jace Hammett was kind of a, I don't want to say a surprise, but I mean he come up big in the game. Ben Pruitt, uh, you know, starting at quarterback again with Zach Fowler at receiver. Pruitt did a great job. Some great composure in the pocket. And he did a good job reading the defenses that Gibson County brought to him. So that's always crucial. Time of possession in this game, West Carroll had 42 minutes of the football on offense compared to Gibson County's 17. 8 penalties for West Carroll, 7 for Gibson County. You look at this and you kind of say, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. I mean, they both had equal amount of penalties just about. And early in the season, that's very common. But the domination to me was the total offensive plays. West Carroll ran 47 offensive plays for 316 yards, and Gibson County had 30 offensive plays for 151 yards. So that's interesting to say the least.
Do you feel like that across the board that the stats were, fairly even, other than the score? Do you feel like that the stats were fairly even? Kind of as we talked about a while ago with 2 new coaches and the kids really trying to understand what they want
Very
done on the field.
very lopsided first half. Very lopsided toward West Carroll. Second half, a little more not even, but Gibson County a little better. And that was the fourth quarter spurt. Gibson County had 69 yards rushing, and they probably had Jonathan, I believe, 50 in that fourth quarter of them. So they had over 3/4 of their rushing yards just in the fourth quarter alone. So that the fourth quarter was really skewed these stats quite a bit. 8 first downs for Gibson County. They probably had 5 of them in the fourth quarter in the second half.
Right.
West Carroll had 20 first downs. That's pretty dominant. You get 20 first downs in a game, you'll take your chances with beating anybody on this schedule. You get 20 first downs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seems like it was kind of all West Carroll all the time, or for the most part, and it seemed like it was, and that was just an awesome game all the way around. Coach Dolan is attempting to get in here. We don't have his visual just yet, but he's in the box, so we'll give him a minute to get his get the visual side of it taken care of and get him popped on there. So he's down here in the bottom of the box. But so if I had to ask you, Adam, to give me one word when I say when I say something, give me one word. I'm gonna do a few of these, okay?
Okay.
Your opinion, I guess, in that one word. If I said execution,
Solid,
okay. Offense,
stable,
defense,
relentless,
relentless. There you go. What about if I said the first half?
statement. West Carroll made a statement.
And the second half?
Ooh, you made this one hard on me. You had to have one good 12-6 curveball here, and you've thrown it on me. As few as words possible. Second half, neutral. They just won. They didn't have it. West Carroll didn't play a poor second half, but just kind of in neutral. Kind of like a car that, hey, we can't get going, but they didn't go backwards, but
right.
Neutral.
Right. Well, I mean that's a fair assessment. Well, and while Coach Dolan gets in here, he's struggling on the visual side of it, the visual side of the box. But so everybody that watched the game the other night knows that that we had a whole new production side of the situation, and so that was fun. It was definitely a challenge, and I actually stopped today and spoke with the White Hat from Friday night, and actually got a little bit better understanding on when I need to punch the clock, when I need to turn it on, when I need to turn it off. So I got a little bit better understanding on some of the rules. And
Jonathan, good job. That's how you act. The White Hat.
I did. I'm telling you, that was that was a bit of a struggle in some areas on Friday night, just trying to really, understand. And like you and I talked about during the broadcast there for a minute, they have changed a few of the rules, and it don't always go. The clock don't always restart on a snap after out of bounds. And the way he was talking, it's like, if that if everybody looks like they're ready on both teams, and that you know referee in the middle there is in the motion of placing that ball down, and everybody looks like they're ready, wind the clock.
Oh yeah, they're
It's
winding
time
it.
to go.
Yeah, yeah. And colleges went to they went to something where they've got this year a 2 minute warning like the NFL.
Right.
Clock stops on 2 minutes, and I believe that's second, fourth quarter on that. That's something colleges went to that I kind of like actually. And college is doing something similar to this, Jonathan, on high school of what high
Yeah.
school is doing on this hot. It's
Well,
called a hot clock.
yeah, and I mean you've seen that across the board, whether it's NFL or Major League Baseball. I mean, the Major League Baseball now has got, for the last couple of years, have had a pitch clock and stuff, just trying to speed the game up, and not just be there for ever, and just take something out of, just take everything out of the fans, and because I mean it's hot. The Friday night, um, we had to turn a fan on several times up there in the press box, because it was like there was no air moving. The wind was not there. It wasn't that it was just like major hot like it is today and these few days coming up,
Yeah, these next
but it
few days.
was it was one of those things of there was just no air moving, and it was crazy. But so I mean it's good that they want to speed up the game, but hopefully in the next couple weeks I can kind of get some of that stuff figured out, and have a little bit better production, and as things are going along. So I don't know, I'm not sure if we're going to get Coach Dolan on here or not. I think he's having some issues with, because he had to reset it last week. Whenever he got on here, he had to kind of restart the computer, and try to get his camera going. So he may have some more camera gremlins and stuff. I keep looking up there at my cell phone, see if I've got a text message or anything from him. But um, I guess while we're waiting on him, just want to say thank you to each and every one of the sponsors that have returned, the ones that have come on board. I mean, it's a big undertaking, and we couldn't do it without these sponsors. I mean, they are definitely needed. And I didn't text you yet today, but we do have a brand new sponsor that just come on board about 2 hours ago. We
Right.
now have a red zone sponsor. It's going to be Melton's Body Shop. So
Right.
we'll get all the information from Mr. Jarrett Melton, get all that squared away. And without further ado, Adam Dolan. How are you, brother?
Man, I'm all right. Been busy. How are y'all?
Hey,
Doing good. Doing good. You have to restart the computer a couple times?
Yeah, I had to do it again. I didn't think I'd have to do it again this time, but then again, I'm not as good at this as y'all are. So,
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. About 2 o'clock. I don't know, maybe 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. The UPS guy showed up, and he brought me a new little tiny mixer. It's about that big, and I was like, I don't know so much about this, but hey, it's working. That's what we're doing. So I had to give it the old test run through and such. So, well, but we do appreciate you joining us here, and welcome in. And Adam and I have been talking just a little bit, kind of about the game on Friday night. And so I tell you what, I'm going to pull the same thing on you, Coach Dolan, that I just pulled on Adam Welch.
Okay.
I want you to give me one word in some of these areas that I ask Adam the same thing. So, in one word, what is your response to me saying the word execution?
Improving,
Proving. Okay. What about your offense?
work in progress.
Okay.
I guess.
Defense.
Effort level.
Okay. All right. And so I even asked Adam, what about the first half? What would be your one word to describe the first half from Friday night?
Physical.
All right, I like that. And all right, the second half. That's my final one-word question there. Second half.
Lack of focus.
Oh, okay. All right. So Adam kind of had a curveball threw at him with that second half, and so we've talked about it a little bit. It seemed like that it kind of leveled out in the second half, and both teams were very very similar, very very um, kind of the same across the board, whether it was offense, defense, penalties, this and that. But I mean, the first half for your kids was just. It seemed like it was, and Adam's one word was a statement. So they kind of made a statement in that first half. So kind of think back a little bit. What's your assessment of the game on Friday night?
I like the statement comment. That's we kind of talked about that a little bit on Thursday, a little bit with our guys, just because I mean. Not y'all, but I'm just, a collection of people, whispers out there. Just, I don't know. I'm not trying to put it on anyone. Our kids, they hear what people say, especially adults.
Adam's frozen as well. All right, let's try that again. Let's get back to you. I think we froze up a little bit.
I was just saying that our kids kind of heard, probably the last 3 weeks for sure, but through the summer that there probably wasn't a lot of expected out of them this year because of our numbers and also of our youth and inexperience and new coaching staff. All those different things were looked at as a negative, and I can see why. And our kids were they're tired of hearing that. They're tired of being told they can't do something, and they're not just outwardly just playing with chips on their shoulder, but we talk about having a chip, a bowling ball sized chip on your shoulder, because why not? I mean, there's not a lot of people who are going to believe in us right now. And if you look at it on paper, nor should they. So that was kind of the focus was early on was we were going to go out there and physically try to impose ourselves on them. And defensively, we certainly did. Offensively, we did at times. It was kind of an odd game because we would have a 1 yard or 2 yard run or a loss of 2, and then we'd have a 30-yard run. And I don't mean this any offense. Gibson County was grasping at straws on defense. They showed us all kinds of funky looks that you never planned for, just because you wouldn't envision anyone ever running them. And our kids had to learn on the fly on how to handle some situations, and that's why the second quarter was better for us than the first quarter. And then they did different things in the third. And third quarter, we figured it out, scored a few more. But as far as the first half goes, I think our kids try to definitely make a statement on defense, and being a defensive-minded guy, I don't know if I say that as much anymore, but our guys were really, really, really upset with how we played on defense in the Jamboree. And we were dead set on changing how we played and continue to play, sure. But definitely the other night, we were definitely trying to get back to what I was hoping to see, play in, play out. And we got closer to it, and we're not there yet, but got closer to it. But offensively, we wanted to throw it more. We do. We don't just want to run it up at people every play, but, they were showing us some crazy things. And I was worried as the game went, if we could protect the quarterback with all the different crazy adjustments, and not because of the O-line, but also as the running backs. Like, they are huge in our protection schemes when we throw the football. And I just didn't want to take a chance when we were up a couple scores on throwing the ball and getting Ben or Zach hitting the backfield, turning someone free against something we hadn't practiced against. So it was one of those things. If it wasn't, it's not broke, don't try to fix it.
Right. And we talked about that a little bit, before you was able to get on here, the difference, the vast difference that we really witnessed between the Jamboree and Friday night. So, you had mentioned that just a minute ago, that you're going to make that effort and try. Do you feel like that effort was met, 100%, or what percentage do you feel like was met?
It's never met 100%, but
right.
No, it was a large percentage flip. Well, I mean, we are a roller coaster effect football team right now. We have been, and we probably will continue to be with our youth. Like, we live on the highs, and we and we dwell on the lows. So after we went down and played TCA in Dresden in the scrimmage, we had a very good night, and the next week going into the Jamboree, safe to say our kids probably felt like that was going to happen again, and Dresden probably had a better week in practice than we did, and it showed. This week, a week from today, like last Monday, we were embarrassed. We had a very intense Monday for a Monday. A lot of people don't, but we did. And we got after it. We had a great day, and we had a great week, and our kids were motivated on not having that again. The big thing, even our key in practice today was, Gibson County's over with, and Harding Academy is a whole new different monster to tackle, and
Right.
we're going to have even better effort. Harding Academy is, a little bit. I think they're probably better than Gibson County in some ways, even though Gibson County's better than them in some ways. But it's going to take focus, and our kids know that. It's just staying locked in all the time. It's our biggest issue because of our youth and inexperience, and that's going to continue to hopefully grow. But as far as meeting some of that, I guess it's just being more focused. It's not really overthinking anything. It's just staying focused for a longer period of time.
Right. All right. So I kind of hinted to the public. We've got something new for the very first time ever here on Talons Out Live. So I'm going to grab this little snippet over here, and then I got a question for you after that. So.
In goal at the Gibson County 1, handoff, Milton, he walks in. And I believe that's a Subway touchdown, I believe.
That is a Subway touchdown.
All right, so looking at that, as far as the regular season goes, that is your very first touchdown as the new head coach of the West Carroll War Eagles.
Yeah.
What did you feel in that moment? What was that feeling like?
We blocked it up correctly. That was what I was, I feel good about when we block things up correctly. Jaden's going to do pretty good things with football, especially against teams that are in the 1A and 2A category in West Tennessee. I would say that if you had a bingo card and who was going to score the first touchdown of the season for us, and you said Jaden Milton probably will, I think that's a safe bet. That was the focus. We felt like he had a great game against them last year, so he was going to get a lot of attention for them. But it doesn't matter if we do what we're supposed to do in the run game and the pass game. He should be successful, and we will be successful. Everyone knows, like, you got a guy like Jaden, you got to give it to him. And down there, we had run the ball inside a lot on a lot of our base inside plays. We are a bigger, stronger football team this year, and we lulled them in, got them inside, and then was able to get around them, to make it real simple there. We had banged it inside and got it down there, and they bunched everyone up in there, and we were able to look at it, get the right call at the right time, the coaching staff and myself. So, something we've been working, kind of our thing down there. You looked at it probably from the plays that we ran and the 2-point plays, everybody's going to probably load the box on us come that point of the field. We've got to find a way to throw it some and then also get around people. So that's what we did there.
Right. Well, and I was kind of after I got done with that game with the new production and everything, I was kind of kicking myself. We did not. I've never had a replay feature. We have it now, and I didn't use it not one time the other night. So I had to go grab those. I've got 3 more to show everybody. And matter of fact, it's the first 4 touchdowns. So we've just seen the first one right there. But man, it's this new little Huddle production truck is an undertaking. So hopefully I can remember to grab a Hudgens Appliance and Repair instant replay a few times on this coming Friday night, and then I'll have those ready to go for the Talons Out Live and kind of look through those. But I had to do some Googling and figure out exactly how to be able to grab that little footage. But Adam, let's take a look at some of those stats that we've got there in front of you, and then we'll kind of lead into touchdown number 2 here in just a minute.
For West Carroll in the contest, Jaden Milton with 27 carries for 232 yards. Zach Fowler, 3 carries for 14 yards. Zach Hames, 2 carries for 8 yards. running the football. For West Carroll throwing, it was Ben Pruitt, 4 out of 7 for 70 yards, and he had a 50-yard touchdown pass to Fowler. Also for Gibson County in the game, they were led by Timothy Overstreet, 9 carries, 35 yards. Noah Cash, 9 carries, 24 yards. Isaiah Rice, 5 carries for 11 yards. Throwing the football for the Pioneers, Overstreet, 2 out of 4 for 38 yards and 1 interception. That was by Hammett, which was a huge interception for West Carroll. Also for Gibson County, Caleb Sims, 1 out of 2 for 44 yards. We look at some more things here as far as the stats that was interesting. West Carroll, 20 first downs compared to Gibson County's 8. 70 passing yards for West Carroll, 82 for Gibson County. Total net offense, West Carroll 316, Gibson County 151. Penalties, West Carroll with 8 penalties for 70 yards, and Gibson County, Jonathan, 7 penalties for 41 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess let's talk with Coach Dolan a little bit about some of those stats that I know he's already looked at, and some of the things that you just read. What's some of your feelings about some of that, Coach Dolan?
I mean, just looking at some of the penalties, I think sometimes penalties can be a little overblown sometimes, and most coaches won't say that, but I care about the pre and post snap penalties. We had one false start, shouldn't have happened. We had a player jump off sides on defense, so we gave him 2 10-yard, 2 5-yarders there. That would have been, so we would have had 6 penalties that were, effort penalties. We had a couple holding penalties. One was legit, and then the other 2 were very questionable. And it's just, spur of the moment kind of thing. So that kind of stuff happens, but I'd rather have some kids really getting after it, getting downfield and, being physical. And sometimes people jerk away from you and you got your hands engaged, and that happens some. For the most part, we played pretty clean on the first game, except for, the turnovers, us having 2 issues there. And that was just a ball security thing with our quarterback. And we got to get that cleaned up. We are not a team that can put the ball on the ground or throw it to the other team. We're going to have to win turnover battles. And we didn't the other night. I think it was 2-1, but I should say 2-2, but we did get an onside kick. So that still is a possession. So it pretty much balanced out. And that was a huge part of the game, was the onside kick. After scoring and then kind of knocking them in the gut right there, getting the onside kick and able to, get back on offense. That was huge. And then able to go up 2 scores right there pretty fast and started avalanching them a little bit is definitely what we need. That way we can kind of rely on the run game.
Well, speaking of the 2 scores kind of fast, and then Adam, after we show this one, I'll let you pull your testing question out for Coach Dolan.
Quarterback, Pruitt. Throws deep to Fowler. Caught. Fowler dives for the pylon. Touchdown, West Carroll.
That right there, that was nice.
Yeah. Let's talk about Pruitt. And, let's talk about this play, Pruitt to Fowler. Talk about Ben and how underrated he is, I feel like, at times. In his progression at quarterback, and talk about Zach as well and the play, a weapon that Zach's becoming not only as wide receiver, but just for this football team, period.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people were paying attention a lot the other night, we second drive of the game, Ben went out the receiver and Zach went to quarterback. And, we'll start with the pass right there. That, that was first or second play of that possession after the onside. And there was a matchup that we really liked when we got Zach over there and on their corner, and we ran a little double move that Ben pumped it and got his feet set, and Zach stemmed the route just right. And one of the best balls Ben's thrown in the fall here, and it was great throw, great catch. The protection was good. It was all around high execution, and Zach diving for the pylon right there. And we talked about that after the game. I'll just say that was cute. That was nice. I liked it. It was good.
I think that was ESPN worthy for just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. I've seen people get flagged for that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't needed, but I liked it though. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just I've seen officials who want to become part of the game. They would flag that for a little showboating, but it was great. We kind of kid and jest with Zach on that, but no, with both of them, talking about both of them, Ben is. Yeah, he's underrated. People forget that, last year going into this week, it was the Wednesday before the Gibson County game. Ben got hurt in practice and missed, the next 9 or 10 weeks. And Zach got, put in the quarterback as a freshman. And that was really hard. And Zach did a very, very great job with that. And just now we've got two guys that are more than capable of playing quarterback. Both have their strengths and weaknesses. And we're going to try to build our offense based off of what those strengths and weaknesses are, or limit the weaknesses, build on the strengths, and try to practice to get the weaknesses not to be weaknesses, I shouldn't say weaknesses, just differences in players. Zach can go out and play receiver, evident there. We throw him a deep ball there. We got an issue with depth at receiver, so it's one of those things that both of them can go do. Ben went out and played receiver, and we'll probably watch. Maybe the last touchdown of the game, Ben went out there and blocked on the corner and absolutely punished the kid. Like, put him on the ground, pancake block. Ben's a big kid. And Ben understands the offense and what we're trying to do. And he knows that there's things that we want to do at quarterback with Zach. And there's things that we want Ben to be able to do at quarterback. And we're just going to play off of that. And they have a great relationship. Some places, and I've been a part of teams where you got two quarterbacks that are very similar. They might not get along. They're both really wanting that job, but at the end of the day, they get along great. They work well together. They're both team players, and all of that it's a blessing, because it could be worse as far as a mentality and an ego standpoint, but it's not.
That's good.
And I talked to them a lot about it back in the spring, back in the summer, and our guys know this. I try to say it. I don't probably say it enough, but I do believe it. Like, they're not quarterbacks and receivers to me. I don't want them to ever think that. They are football players, end quote. That's all I want them to think. And because they got to flip around and go play it on defense, and they got to flip around and play special teams, and you just got to be a football player. So whatever job's asked of you, go do it. And if that mentality stays where it is, then we can find success.
Talk a little bit about defensively when guy that has to come out, or you have to move pieces around. Not necessarily how concerned are you, but I guess I'm just going to ask that question. How concerned are you as far as the youth of this team, 20 players, having to, mix and match and whatnot, as far as on the defensive side of the football?
Oh, it's very stressful. Like, it's unbelievably stressful, because
Does it affects one thing? Affects
everything, because if you play linebacker, there's more than just one kind of linebacker.
Yeah, give us
outside linebackers, we have inside linebackers,
right.
We have strong side, we have weak side. Some have to handle pass responsibility, some don't. So, it's set in the secondary. Some play corner, some play safety, and because of physical attributes, some can do others and some can't. So when you take a kid out, let's say a linebacker, like the other night, Zach's having a good game. Haynes, talking about Zach Haynes, an inside linebacker.
Yeah.
He's having a good game. He has a cramp. He comes out. We're just not ready yet for another person in that package to go in and play that spot, because we were already on the field with Trendon. We already had 3 inside linebackers on the field. Yeah. So we had to go from like what we consider what some people would call like a 3-3 look to a completely different structure of being 4-2 now, having 4 true D linemen on the field and just 2 inside linebackers, and just moving people around. And when you do that, that changes what the secondary has to do. It ain't just one guy. It changes all 11 at the very moment it happens. So we have to have, and that's what we started today. Like, we have multiple defensive game plans in every week, just because of we have to have the scenario ready for if this kid goes down, who goes here? If this kid goes out, he has to go in. If 2 people go out, what are we going to do there? Like, we have to, it's musical chairs, and we have to find the right setup, and sometimes it gets to be a bind. Luckily, the other night, with all the conditioning we've been trying to do and keeping our bodies right, and all the different things, our booster club, which I want to give them a shout out, the amount of time and money that they are spending on our program sometimes goes unnoticed. I want them to know how appreciative our coaching staff, I hope their parents, I know the kids are, like all the different things, the pickle juice, the pickles, the mustard, the Pedialyte, the liquid IVs, the oranges, the Powerade, the Gatorade, like the ice baths that we take every day. Like those things are going to keep us successful, hopefully keep us successful. They're going to be the key to the success.
Oh, yeah.
And Gibson County was wilting in the second quarter, and we were not. And they had more players than us, and it didn't matter. We were in better shape than them, and we were ready to play for longer than they were, and it showed. And that's part of it. Like we've got some guys. I don't know. I don't know if Zach Fowler came off the field in any situation. I think he played every snap of the football game, offense, defense, and kicking. I believe he did, and that's rare today.
Yeah,
we don't see that very much. So that's just how that's how we're going to be this year, and that's just how it's going to have to be. And I think our guys are embracing it now, and there's a little bit of pride that comes with that. I think some of our guys have got a little pride effect to that, and this week is going to be another challenge. It's going to be even hotter, throughout the week. We're going to have to practice tomorrow night late, like get on the field at 6:30 kind of thing. So, but if you're going to play in this heat, you got to breathe in the heat while you're moving. You got to breathe it. It's not your legs, it's breathing and getting the oxygen into you where you need to be. So it's a challenge, and, we're looking forward to it. But talking about moving the pieces, like, we were resting guys on offense so they could play on defense.
Okay. Yeah.
And we were subbing a lot of receivers in and out and backs so they could play defense. And then we were subbing the big guys on the defensive line in and out so they could stay in on offense, because you don't want to sub offensive linemen in and out. They got to work as one. It's got to be a consistent group. And there was a reason why our offensive line played the best last week, is because that group has finally been together for 2 weeks now. We've had all kinds of mix and matching there throughout, fall camp in the summer for various reasons. And now we've kind of settled on what we're going to be. And the other night was the best we played, because they've got to communicate. And you just don't come out there and start communicating if you haven't worked next to that guy for hours and hours and hours, because there's a lot going on up there that the average fan doesn't know. And what they had to do last night or the other night was very impressive in their own way, because they had to learn and figure things out on the fly without me being out there. So it was very good to see our offensive line control that football game.
All right, let's take a look at the third touchdown right there. I know you mentioned that we might be able to look at the last touchdown. My bad. I've only got the first 4. So as far as what goes on, but everybody can go back and take a look, on the broadcast and kind of look at it. But let's take a look at this third touchdown from Milton.
Finish off this drive. Pitch. That's Jade Milton, number 1. Can he get to the end zone? He's close. He cuts it back in. He's to the edge, and it's a Subway touchdown, I believe.
It really seemed like that Milton was, really there for you on Friday night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jaden's got a great ability, But on that play right there, he's able to get to the edge against an unblocked guy just the way it was designed, And he ran the ball a lot and had success. And we had some ideas of running, we're going to get Mason Taylor involved. We're going to get Zach Haynes involved running the football more. We're just going to ease into that kind of stuff a little bit. We know what we got with Jaden, but those other guys, we're going to have to, share the load a little bit with that. But, Jaden's going to be a focal point. But, I think Jaden would tell you a lot. That play right there we just watched, that was blocked really well. He was able to get out there and get to an unblocked, secondary guy, which is what you want all the time. You want your running back on a secondary guy. We got everyone blocked that was supposed to be blocked right there. And then his talent took over, and he was able to make those, kids miss and get in the end zone. So that was a combined effort right there. Milton with his ability, that also Nigel Butler right there, and, Elijah Dorrance comboing up to the, D-line to linebacker, which takes a lot of time in practice. Our receivers right there, talking about Zach and Jace, tight end, receiver, combo blocking an edge guy to another guy. Like, it's a lot of good things on that play. That's a play that we've been trying to get to go for a little while too, and that was the best we've ran it yet.
All right. Adam, is there anything else that you're seeing inside those stats that you really want to kind of comment about and talk a little bit about with Coach Dolan?
Well, with Jaden, 232 yards running the football. Talk about how important it is, though, for Mason Taylor, Zach Fowler, and I know you said it's a work in progress to get a compliment to Milton as far as that goes.
Well, compliment, you can look at it, call it a lot of different things. All those guys, they run the same things. They can run the same schemes. But, the thing with Mason is he's playing a different position right now with that. He's learning how to – so Jaden's position is called the F. Well, Mason plays it too, and Zach Haynes plays it as well. And Zach Fowler's taking reps at it as well. And then the position Mason's having to play is a running back, but it's more of a fullback. Well, Mason knows how to play that. Trenton Kirby and Jace Hammond and Zach Haynes, they're all rotating at these places. That way we can try to find a way to stay fresh. And they're all bringing strengths to that different things. And there's going to be times where, you're going to see Jaden, he's going to line up at receiver more. We didn't do as much the other night, but it's going to come. He's going to be out wider, and we're going to do some things with him on the edge, and he can run routes and catch the football and do all those things. And Mason Taylor is more than capable of running the football and doing what we need to do. And so is Zach Haynes. And Ben can run it at the quarterback position, and so can Fowler. We can run the football. And we're going to have multiple guys running football. We haven't even gotten into doing things with, Kamarion Patterson running fly sweeps from the outside. We haven't gotten into anything like that. So there's more in the arsenal for sure. It was just the other night we didn't tap into everything, that nowhere close to what we could probably do in the future and what we need to do. Just depends on each week. But we've got some plans to get other people involved. It's just, they're doing certain things against you, and you've got to kind of, work with what you've practiced against those scenarios. And sometimes it's not, sometimes it's not going to be what you think going into it, because they might show you something different. And Gibson County definitely did show us something quite a bit different than what I wouldn't say we weren't expecting it, but they were jumping around because, they were having problems stopping Jaden. And they were trying to find something that worked, and then they would get lucky. Well, I won't say lucky. They would get something successful, and then when you're jumping around like that, sometimes you'll give some things up, and that happened a lot too. But no, we've got more stuff on offense that we're going to get to. I would have loved to throw it more the other night. We had some things that we could have done. It was just, you got a 3-touchdown lead, 4-touchdown lead. The old Tom Landry quote: "There's always two things that can happen wrong when you throw the football." So you can,
That's right.
So, when you got that lead, we're going to be built to more, run the football, eat the clock this year. Last year it was a little different. We had a little bit more senior skill kid involvement. We could throw it a little bit more. We could have. This year, we're bigger and a little bit stronger on the O-line than we were last year. Last year we were a little quicker at spots. So, from year to year, things change. But for us, it's definitely going to be week to week. Things are going to change a little bit. So there's definitely some things that we're going to do to get other people involved. It's just, making sure we feel we can trust it. And then also it depends on also what they do.
Yeah. On Friday night, you just talked a few minutes ago about different looks and things like that coming from Gibson County. Do you feel like your boys were able to adapt to that change fairly quickly, like you asked them to?
Best that we've had since I've been here is, an assistant, and also, just being here as a head coach. But our communication on the O-line is we're getting there. We've got some guys. Well, it's second year in what we're doing on the offensive line system, so that helps too. I make no bones about it. And I'm so proud of them up there. Nigel Butler at left tackle played his best football game on offense, and it's not even close. Elijah Darnes, we call him Bruce. He had a great game at left guard. Bruce is going to be one of the best linemen in our league by far. Joseph Brogdon at center. I hope more people understand how good a football player he's becoming. Last year, all regional defense as a sophomore, but it's changed his body. Now he looks like a complete O-line D lineman. We don't go very far unless our center plays well. And I don't know if they just look at the ball a lot with the quarterback and stuff. I think Ben, Zach will tell you, like, a lot of what we do revolves around what our center tells us to do. Our center he has to be on top of it. Our center is the coach on the field. It has to be that way. So proud of Joseph, and he's only been playing there about a month. So the leaps he's taken is unbelievable. And then, Big Tice over there at right guard, that was his first game starting on the O-line. And, like I said, he played all last year on the D-line, but, the O-line is kind of new to him. He's doing a good job over there picking up what we're doing. And then Amari Kelly at right tackle played his best football game of his life the other night. So our O-line is coming together, and the exciting thing about that is, 4 of them are juniors, and they're invested into what we're doing. So, the future is really bright with our group. This week is going to be a challenge. Harding Academy's best unit of their football team is their defensive line. So it's going to be good on good this week with that. But so proud of our offensive line. They had a lot of things thrown at them the other night, and they had to fall back to something that, rules that they might have heard in June. It's like, oh, yeah, when we saw this, we had to block it this way, or we have to communicate how to do this. And there's so much going on up there that most people never see or never hear. The amount of conversations and the communication and knowing what's going on, it's a lot. And I wish more people would know that our offensive linemen, they are they're going to have to be the backbone of our team, and they are. We won't go very far if our O-line's not doing very well.
I got one more video for us, and on the broadcast, I think I called it the interception heard round Carroll County. So let's take a look at that.
20. Ball's going to be at the 24. Quarterback intercepted.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness, and it's returned for a touchdown. That's Jace Hammett. That's 24, Jace Hammett. He caught it at about the 15-yard line or 18, and he takes it back into the end zone.
Wow.
And if you ever seen anything like this, 28-0 now, West Carroll.
You look at the interception by Jace Hammett, Coach, and this defense, I thought it was a bend but not break defense. I thought first half defensively was good. Talk about Hammett's interception. Talk about the fourth quarter where it seemed like you said, just seemed like it was a mixture of things.
Yeah.
Bit.
That's 2 years in a row for Jace. He gets an interception in his first football game last year as a freshman against them, and then, the other night he gets another one. Of course, scoring this time was huge. I mean, just right, he was right in the zone where that kid was trying to throw it. I don't know if he saw him. He didn't see him. I don't know if he just thought it would be there. Not sure what he saw, but that was not an easy kid. That kid was right in front of Jay. Like, that was a really close catch. That kid threw it, and Jace has really good hands. And, I mean, I don't know. So a lot of kids would have been surprised that the ball was right there, and he wouldn't have caught it. Jace caught it clean, tucked it, scored. I mean, that was pretty.
It really reminded me of like a pitcher on the baseball field. As soon as it comes off that bat, it comes right back to him, and I mean, he's there. So
yeah,
that was a good eye by Jace.
I coach our D-line on defense, Coach Brackeen, and Coach Pickard, coach our linebackers, and I was watching the D-line on the play, trying to see something, trying to see a technique, how we played something right there, and I did not see him catch it. I really didn't see him do anything until he got across the goal line. I was really confused there for about a split second of what was going on because it happened really fast. Of course, it was a good surprise, but just surprised that kid didn't see it. But great play by Jace, and that was huge. I think that broke their back for real. And Jace, such an important player for us. Offense. Didn't get a ball the other night, blocked his butt off at tight end. I mean, absolutely. There's a linebacker over there for Gibson County that got handled by Jace Hammett. Jace blocked a lot of their guys, but one of them in particular, he didn't want it much more after as the game was ending. And then defensively, Jace is so important. And, he calls our strengths, calls our stuff on the defense as an inside linebacker, really kind of takes charge on that side of the ball. That's a lot to ask of the sophomore. Super, super proud of him. And, he's got a lot of good football ahead of him. He's playing good football now, but he's got a lot more to go. He's got a lot. He can grow a lot and be a really, really good player for us.
Last question that I've got for the night, Jonathan, but it's a good question. 3 things, Coach, that you want to see improved upon going into the next 3 vital keys. It's going to be something that you need to improve on specifically from week to week. But let's start with, obviously, after this first game. What's 3 most important things you can think of? It's going to be key. That's going to lead your team to victory against Harding Academy.
Number one, focus of every minute of every day when we're at practice. Absolute no roller coaster effects emotionally and mentally, and all that. We have to be locked in, focused on what we're doing every minute of the day that we're there. That's hard with teenagers, but it's got to be that way. We've got so much we got to get done. The heat this week is an issue. There's going to be distractions with that, and our practice schedule times are different, and the focus to the details of what we've got to do in the game plan, offense, defense, and kicking is vital. Number two is conditioning. Our conditioning is vital. Getting better at that. It was good. It was really good last week for that day, for that game. This week it's got to be better because Harding Academy is going to be better. They played a football game too. They had a practice. They had weeks of practice. They've got practice this week. Who's going to condition better this week? Who's going to have a better week of focus and conditioning? Those are going to be the first and second things for the next couple of weeks, and it's not going to change. And then number three is a little bit of, I don't want to say, we're doing some good things right now, but I'm going to nitpick a little bit because it's a big deal. Our quarterback position, and I say position because it's Zach too. And then the other night we actually direct snapped it to Milton a little bit and some Wildcat stuff, and that's some stuff we might do too going forward. But our quarterback position has got to control the offense more. We got a delay of game the other night as a no huddle team. That's embarrassing. That should never happen. So that can happen. I mean, we've got to take a little bit more charge. And this is not something I would not tell. I mean, we talk to them about it every day. We've got to do a better job of playing the quarterback position, not just when the ball is snapped. It's before the play and after the play, getting people lined up, getting the call echoed off the wristband, what we're doing, seeing the defensive structure, looking back at the back judge, seeing what the play clock is on his count, knowing what we've got. I mean, just all the things that people don't think about. The most important things of playing quarterback is not him throwing the football. It's not. There's been many a football team win state championships only throwing the ball 50 times that season. Union City in 2009 threw the ball 31 times the entire season, and they won a state championship. So there's a lot more to playing football than just throwing it. And playing the quarterback position's one of those, and it's a mental game, and we're getting to get better at it, and we've got to. So I want to see them take charge of the offense and the game, not just from it's a passing play, I get to throw it now. It's more than that. And that's not a negative thing. I'm not being negative about it one bit, but it's a whole thing. And it has to do with the passing game. They have to know when Joseph up at front calls the protection at center, he has to know who we're accounted for and not accounting for. He has to know who might be a free blitzer. He has to know what the structure is at safety, so he knows who to read to throw the ball to the correct place. It's just, there's a lot more that goes into it people don't know. And our guys know it, but sometimes we lose track of it when the live bullets are flying out there on the field, and we got to keep focused and lock in on those things because those things can be the difference. Those things can be the difference in a game. You make a poor read, throw a ball where you shouldn't, the kid intercepts and scores. The quarterback looks terrible right then. But, it wasn't the throw a lot of times. It was before the throw. Why did he throw it there? And most times you shouldn't throw it somewhere because of what they're doing. You got to see it. It's a mental thing. You got to see it. The quarterback position is unbelievably hard. And it's hard because there's all kinds of things you got to think about, in split seconds. And that's the thing that we've got to get better at. Not that they're not doing a decent job at it. They've been doing a good job, but we just got to get better at it as the season goes.
That's all I got. It's good. Good stuff.
All right. Well, we appreciate Coach Dolan. We appreciate your insight, and look forward to getting back at it, back in the Eagles' Nest on Friday night. We got Harding Academy coming in there, and it's going to be another test. So,
well, really quick, guys, I just want to say thank you for everyone that came out to the game the other night. We did really, really well with Gay, did great at the concession stand. Gibson County brought a good crowd. It seemed like everything went off pretty well as the first game. We got 6 home games, 5 left. So that's big that we got a lot of games in front of our folks. And I hope it looks like it's going to be another good night of weather. And hope everyone comes out. We're going to need everyone's support. I want to say that so proud of Jackson Mims and Nick Andre for the job they did.
Yeah.
Press box and announcing the game. They brought a lot of juice and energy. The kids really appreciated it. The parents of those kids appreciated it. I appreciated it. When you can do that, and even from experience, when you've got good things going on, when you're on the opposing side and things are not going well for me, and then you're hearing it, and not being mean or being a homer or anything like that, but just being excited and making that environment rough on the other people, we need that. And our kids feed off of that. And that was great to hear. They did a great job.
We even fed off of it the other night as far as the broadcast. I mean, it was awesome.
They never decided to do it, not do it. That was great. Not that we haven't had people do other good jobs too. It's just, that was great to hear that, we got two guys that are just newly alums to our school that played 4 years of football for our program, who put a lot into it, for them to come back and want to do that. They volunteered, they're the ones that stepped up and did it. A wonderful job by them. Couldn't be more prouder. I know their folks are proud of them. Our kids loved it. I hope they come back and do it. I hope we can pack the stands. Harding Academy has got some really good athletes. They won last week. It's going to be a tough test for us, but it is a game that we can definitely win. We've got to execute, do our things, have a great week of focus and conditioning and practice, and come out and do what we're going to kind of try to hang our hat on. We're going to try to establish the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football and be relentless in how hard we play, attack people, and be physical and stop the run the football, and hopefully not have post and pre-snap penalties, live with some things in between the whistle, and, try to win the turnover battle, and don't get beat in special teams. You ain't got to be perfect, but don't, do something that can get you beat. And just try to play that kind of brand of football, because that's where we're at right now. And if we do that week in, week out, we practice to it, we will be successful. And hopefully, like I started off with, our kids, there's a little bit of that chip on the shoulder, and I hope it stays. I don't want them to get comfortable just because we, beat Gibson County and we're 1-0. We've got 9 guaranteed, games left, and it'll be over before you know it. And they better cherish that moment and, take advantage of it and try to just win a game every week. If we can do that, that'd be great.
Yep, sounds good. Well, once again, Coach Stolen, we appreciate you joining us and giving us some of your insight. Adam, always good questions as well from your side. And so we'll do it again on Friday night. Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show will start at 6:30 and the kickoff at 7 o'clock. And as Coach Stolen said, y'all bring out the folks and be sure you pack the stands and let's have a good time.
More cowbell, as Will Ferrell said. Let's get more cowbell going.
Yeah, bring it on.
I want to be so loud my kids can't hear me. That would be good. That makes me have to coach harder. And if you don't see, I sweated a lot the other night. That's great. Make me work. I want the cowbells going. That would be great.
Well, I will tell you this. Rachel even brought it up. My girlfriend, she was on the camera Friday night, and she gets a kick out of just watching you up and down the sideline at the bottom of the screen right there. You were fun to watch.
Well, I don't know if I was having fun. Very stressed. I mean, I am. I enjoyed. I know they said
animated. You were animated.
I heard people say, "Coach, you don't even smile when you score," and I'm just like, "Well, we're supposed to. Like, when we practice to do this." But no, I do, and I was very happy and very proud of our kids, and they deserve it because they have. I'm not letting a lot out, but they've taken some things on the chin. They've heard people talk about, well, we only dressed 18 kids the other night. You ain't going to win. You're not going to be successful with just 18 kids and a new staff and
right.
Seniors. Like, you're not going to do that. And I get why people think that, but, we practice it. We practice. We go out there and do what we're supposed to. We're going to be okay because we've got ability. Our kids have ability. We've got size, strength, quickness, power, speed. We got all kinds of physical ability. It's just focus and keeping our emotions in check with these young guys, and we're going to be fine. But I'm very proud of them. I don't want you to think I'm not. It's just my demeanor comes off sometimes a little harsh, but no, I'm having a good time. And yes, I'm told by people often that I can be entertaining, but I didn't throw a headset this week. I didn't wear a hat and throw it. I don't think I threw anything. I wasn't mean to the referees. I didn't say anything bad or inappropriate to anyone. I just, I was trying to give it everything I've got for my guys. I'll just say that.
I think we just got a live look into your sideline checklist right there. don't mess with the referee. Don't throw a hat.
Things that our staff knows and our kids know. Just keep away from me at certain times. Water bottles at halftime during, that can be interesting in the locker room. Dry erase boards in my past, those were in danger at times. Trying to think, just other things like that. I've gotten better about that though. I've got to do better. So no, going forward, I'll make sure my antics are tame a little bit. Can't promise nothing, but
hey, we don't want you to change. It was fun to watch. Whether it was animated or fun or whatever. But it was definitely fun to watch.
Friday nights, I tell our guys a lot. Our Friday nights are they're decently calm compared to a Tuesday. I'm amped on Tuesdays now. Tuesdays are our day. Tuesdays are my day. We're going to get after it on Tuesdays. That's where, you win the game. Well, you win the game based on what you did in, January, February, March, April, May. But Tuesdays and Wednesdays are our big work days. And there's a lot of effort, a lot of intensity, a lot of passion that has to be put out there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And Fridays are just hopefully a display of what you've done during the week. But yeah, I want the environment to keep getting as loud and raucous as can. I'm happy to see our student section was involved and they did a great job. Our fans were engaged. We had people around. Can't express how grateful I am for everyone showing up for our kids. It's not about me. It's not about us as adults. It's for those kids and their parents, and they'll remember those things forever. And we just had so many little things. Mr. Douglas does such a great job of trying to coordinate our game day events in every sport, but out there, and our booster club did an unbelievable job getting everything ready for the concession stand, and y'all doing a great job on up top and everything. We just got so many hands that are helping to make this thing go. It's just not me as a football coach or our kids playing the game. There's so many things like Coach Doles, who's our volleyball coach, and assistant AD, along with myself, having the cleanup crew ready to go after the game. That makes things so much easier, and getting all our sports together. And Coach Dixon with the baseball kids up in the crowd, supporting us, just like, we got boys going to volleyball games and supporting them and doing dress up stuff. And, those things are great for the school, and those kids need it in the community. And I'm happy to be a part of that, and we'll return the favor when it's our time to do it. And just hope everyone can keep coming back and cheering these boys on, because they do put in work that no one sees. And we do work in kind of the silence a little bit, but it's greatly appreciative. Our kids looked up, and I had one kid, he was very happy. He was like, man, there's a lot of people here. And I was like, keep them coming back. Go out there and do your job. So just very, very appreciative of everyone coming out and supporting our guys. It does mean a lot. It doesn't go unnoticed, I promise you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I reckon that about wind it up right here. We appreciate you, Coach Dolan, for all your insight. And
thank you all for having me.
Like we said, we'll do it again on Friday night, the Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show at 6:30, and the kickoff at 7:00 against Harding Academy. And so we'll bring it all there. But everybody needs to come on out. Be sure you support the kids. Bring the cowbells, as Coach Dolan said. But if you're unable to attend, like I said, we'll have it on YouTube, War Eagle Radio Network on YouTube at 6:30, Hometown Grocery Deli pregame show. And we'll be ready to rock and roll, and hopefully for another victory again on Friday night. So on behalf of Coach Adam Dolan, Adam Welch, I'm Jonathan Gowan, and we'll talk to you on Friday nights on the War Eagle Radio Network.